And whilst we celebrate our diversity, the thing that surprises me time and time again as I travel around the constituency is that we are far more
It's Tuesday, June 16, and this is News Update. Coming up. Man who urinated beside police memorial in Westminster given jail time. Tributes pour over social media to mark slain MP Jo Cox's death anniversary. More controls used in Beijing as COVID-19 outbreak grows in China again. Muslims in America call for police reforms in the wake of George Floyd's death. Oscars rescheduled for April 2021 in light of coronavirus pandemic. And in sport, Qatar launches new stadium honouring the heroes fighting COVID-19. A man has been jailed for 2 weeks for urinating next to a memorial to PC Keith Palmer during an event to protect monuments at the weekend. Andrew Banks had travelled to Westminster with a group of football friends for the event, despite not knowing which statues he was supposedly defending from possible vandalism. Westminster Magistrates Court was told that Essex-based Banks had been drinking through the night. The 28-year-old was arrested after pictures of him urinating by the memorial of the fallen officer who was killed in the 2017 Westminster Bridge terror attack circulated on social media, prompting outrage.
May I express on behalf of the whole House our sympathy with the family, friends and colleagues on this sad anniversary. We will never forget Jo or her legacy.
4 years on from the murder of Jo Cox, her sister Kim Ledbetter has said it's even more important than ever that people pull together with compassion and kindness. Mrs Cox had been serving as Labour MP for Batley and Spen for just over a year when she was shot and stabbed by far-right extremist Thomas Mair in 2016. People have been sharing tributes on social media on the anniversary of her murder.
And whilst we celebrate our diversity, the thing that surprises me time and time again as I travel around the constituency is that we are far more united and have far more in common than that which divides us.
A city official warned that the novel coronavirus situation in China's capital is extremely severe, as nearly 30 new cases were recorded on Tuesday. It comes amid fears of a second wave, after an outbreak was linked to a large wholesale food market in the city. Residential communities around the market have been put under lockdown, along with the area around a second market.
Beijing is a large city and a very dynamic and connected city, so there's always a concern. And I think you can see that level of concern in the response of the Chinese authorities. So we are tracking that very closely.
Beijing also banned outbound travel of high-risk people and suspended some transportation services out of the city. Dozens of Muslim organisations in the US have come together to call for reform to policing practices and to support black-led organisations. Signed by more than 90 groups, the proposed changes include prohibiting racial profiling and manoeuvres that restrict the flow of blood or oxygen to the brain. They also ask for police funding to be redirected into community programmes. Like many members of other faith groups, many US Muslims have joined in the outrage unleashed after George Floyd died, caused by a white Minneapolis police officer pressing his neck on Floyd's neck. The annual Oscars ceremony has been pushed back by 2 months due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Academy Awards, set to take place in February, is now taking place at the end of April next year. A number of films due to be released by the end of this year have been greatly affected by the pandemic. This will be the 4th time that the Oscars has been delayed in its 91-year history. Qatar launched its new stadium for the 2022 World Cup, but did so without a football fixture. Instead, they provided a virtual tribute to the frontline workers amid the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. The new Education City Stadium is the second of 7 stadiums built from scratch and has a capacity of 40,000.
We pay a very special tribute to those who suffered, who fought and who are still fighting against the COVID-19 pandemic, giving us a remarkable example of resilience during such a difficult moment.
And that's it for today's news update. For more, follow Islam Channel online. Tune in again tomorrow.